What I feel like I can do today, from my own perspective, is simply to reiterate basically the press release that was put out yesterday, indicating simply where we are in the process. You all are very much aware that the way things work in this country, if the executive branch of government has some kind of dispute with the legislative branch of government, it's the judicial branch of government that steps in and says what the law is and what needs to be done and who needs to follow the law. And then if people in our democracy don't like that law, it's obviously their option to suggest that there should be some different law. So that's where we sit. The judicial branch of government has spoken, the judge has spoken, and we now have open communications with the legislative branch and are asking them how they want to proceed and how they intend to proceed. That's ongoing at the moment. So what I thought might be helpful for you today is I've asked Rod Conford to come with me today. Rod, as most of you know, was city attorney for a period of time, immediately preceding Jeff Kilpatrick. Rod was the individual who we asked to represent the administration in this particular conflict with the city council. So I'm going to ask Rod to come forward, and he may want to preface your opportunity to ask questions with some background, and with that we'll do the best we can to answer what questions you have today.
Thank you. This was very interesting and, of course, a high-profile matter to work on, and all of the parties actually worked together very hard, including the judge, in order to get this matter heard in a very timely way, because we have the budget process going forward, we have the tax levy process going forward, and we have deadlines that we have to meet around the middle of this month in order to get our levy information to the county. And so the parties agreed on all of the facts and cooperated in order to get those before the judge. And the judge did a very commendable job in getting all of that information assimilated. We threw a lot at him, and he was able to get through it all and issue a ruling in a very timely way, so that we are going to be able to meet the deadlines that we need to meet. And I think it was a good example of how the parties, when they all have the same interests in some ways, can work together in order to get things done. The appeal doesn't stop the process of going forward with the tax levy. There is a process for getting what's called a supersedious bond, where the matter can be stayed, and I don't know whether there's been any discussion amongst the council about doing that, but we expect that the matter will go forward.
Could I ask you to repeat again to why the timeliness, why that was such an important part of this, just because of the music, just to have you say that again without the music?
Yes, there are deadlines under state law about when we have to get the city's tax levy to the county in the event that the tax levy is going to be changed from what it's been before. In the event that the city doesn't get its information to the county by the deadline, then the statutes say that the old tax levy will go into effect, and that is even lower than the one that the council majority attempted to approve, which was vetoed. So the council doesn't want that levy, and neither does the administration. And so we need to get the new information to the county by the deadline. in order that the new tax levy will be able to go into effect for the city.
And when are those deadlines? Like, are we approaching them? Is it like a time crunch? Like, what's going on?
October 13th is the deadline established under state law for the city to get its information to the county, and then the county has until October 15th to establish the combined levy for the city, the county, and all of the other political subdivisions within the county.
Mayor, can I ask you, what about moving forward with the council? I mean, a lawsuit, this is such a unique situation. Do you think you'll be able to work together effectively in the future with the city council?
Yeah, you know, I've been in public service for a long, long time, and there's an ebb and flow to the relationships between people. It's probably no different than your relationships to neighbors or other citizens in the community on a day-to-day basis. And it was certainly true in the legislature that we had our disputes about policy issues. But that didn't mean that the next day or the next week we weren't back together again, seeing each other as individuals and people, honoring the fact that we're not automatons, we're all a little different, we all have different philosophies. We know we have to deal with those different philosophies. And after these events happen, hopefully everybody, certainly myself, will attempt on this occasion, as I do on all occasions, to put the past behind us really quickly and to try to focus on what's in the best interest of the community on the next thing in the line that we need to act upon. And that's the way democracy works. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You have to accept the results within the framework of the rules of the playing field, just like you do in football. And follow the law. The most important thing is being able to concede that the law doesn't support your position. And when that happens, you have to turn your focus not to ignoring the law or acting contrary to the law. That leads in the direction of chaos and anarchy if you go in that direction. But you have to bring yourself back around to the mechanisms of democracy that allow you to change the law. And it's time now for the council to follow the law, and if they, on deeper reflection, really think that the relationship between the mayor's office and the council should be changed, then they need to do that in the city charter or in city ordinance or in state law, depending on what the nature of the change would be that they sought.
Do you mind if I ask you, would you mind repeating your statement again, just because it doesn't have the music now, your initial statement? I assume this is what you said in the beginning, is that right? When the music was playing, I couldn't.
The initial statement was intended to be just what you have there.
Okay. You didn't say it out loud then?
Well, not exactly.
Well, no, but yeah.
Okay.
Is the meeting still set up to look at the tax rate for next Tuesday morning?
Meeting set up to do what?
Is the meeting next Tuesday morning still, as far as you know, the meeting that's going to take place to deal with the tax rate?
Well, there will, if necessary, there will certainly be a meeting on that date. Is that a fair answer? Maybe you want to elaborate.
We're looking at options about possibly having an earlier date. We're trying to communicate with the other side, find out a little bit about their intentions. We may have an earlier meeting because of the short amount of time between that meeting that's scheduled for next Tuesday and the time that the county board is set to meet, which is the same day. So we may, it may be desirable because of all the things that are going on to meet a little earlier than that, and that's under discussion.
And the next step is for the council to set the levy that corresponds to the mayor's budget, which the court has said is the legal budget.
That's correct.
Well, obviously, the whole matter was initiated, and the intended consequence or the needed result was to have clearly a budget for the city of Lincoln, and the budget that was the one legally enacted. And a series of events and decisions relate to that. The last of those decisions is the setting of the levy. And so we now have to focus on that part of the decision and find a way to everybody's satisfaction that the law can be followed. And the law to be followed needs to encompass a meeting where the council sits down together and approves in accordance with the direction from the court, approves the levy that it's required to approve before the deadline passes.
Are you confident that that will be done or reached before those?
Well, I am confident that that will be done. I don't, I just can't think of my colleagues as ignoring the decision of the court and doing anything differently. Enough for now? All right. Thank you very much.